Welcome back to Before the Bell here on MMA Oddsbreaker. That's Kalikas. I'm Frank Trigg. This week, UFC Fight Night 79, Henderson versus Masvidal. Seoul, Korea, another big trip for the UFC, getting all the production trucks, getting all their squad and staff over there. A lot of people don't realize how much goes into the production to get these shows put on the air for us. Um, it's got to be daunting to move everybody over there. But then, of course, taking a guy like Henderson kind of makes it easier in Korea, right? Because he's such a big star. Do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I would think so. I think it's going to be a successful event for the UFC, no doubt. But it is a lot of work, like you said, a lot of money, a lot of work. A lot of headache for sure. But I think they'll come through with another solid event.
You're looking at it's a full card on Fight Pass, starting at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Preliminary card actually starts at 5 a.m. Eastern time. So for me in Hawaii, that's midnight. The preliminary card starts at midnight, but it's on Fight Pass, so it'll be easy to see later. That's the one thing about Fight Pass you can say at the UFC is that they got the content up right away, so you can't see it live. You can watch the replay of it very, very quickly. Um, does this fight card get you excited? I know we've had a lot of cards we're going to deal with in the last little bit, and especially with Thanksgiving, our minds aren't necessarily on the fight game right now. We're worrying about family and of course you, because you have new little ones running around in the house and all that stuff. There is a situation where does this card really get you hyped up and excited to get ready for?
Well, you know what? It's cards like this that actually overperform, I think. Stuff that you're not really expecting to be that good, and then the fights end up being quality from top to bottom, even if there's not a lot of name recognition. So yeah, I think this will end up being a pretty fun card, honestly. So I'm looking forward to it. I know it is going to be a hectic week, like you said. I got some family stuff going on as well, but overall, I think the event will. Well, I mean, actually, one bad thing is they seem to drag on from time to time. Obviously, like the last event was hectic; it was brutal. But the good thing is on Fight Pass, it should go a little bit better, like faster. The flow should be a little bit better as well. So I'm looking forward to that because the sooner we get done with the event, the better it is as well. But there should be some quality action, quality fights.
We got to check in with Fightonomics, but I think that there's got to be a stat on do the amount of early finishes in fights cause the production to go longer? Because it seems like when there's a lot of finishes, the fight just seems to go on a lot longer than if the other fights went back to back because they're trying to fill the entire time. They're trying to be at the entire time. Of course, this last fight ran over the normal time, and we ended up sitting around and having to watch the big finish. But rightfully so. So is there something to your knowledge that you know of that's like if the fight's finished, do you try to fill that with commercial time now?
It seems like it, but I don't know honestly. I mean, it just feels that way, I guess, because like you just said, they are trying to fill that void. So they're putting showing fights from earlier, a lot of commercials, all that stuff. They got to make their money, so I understand it. But man, the fans are complaining though. I mean, you look at the media out there. There's people talking about it. There's a lot of discussion that that's the bad thing. You want to please the fans. I mean, you can't please everybody all the time. So if everybody's going to always complain about something, but to be honest with you, I mean, a lot of people they got to get up, they got to work in the morning, that things going on in their lives. So a little bit more of a compact event, a little bit more efficient wouldn't be a bad thing.
Especially with all the content they're putting out right now. There's so much content out there. It kind of gets daunting sometimes. Like, oh, it's another fight this week. Oh, it's another fight last week. There's another fight next week. If you kept the fight shorter for us, we might not complain so much about the fights being as long because it makes it so much easier for us to watch. When you're
Yep.
spending 12 hours, in a month watching fights versus 8 hours, that's a big difference. So, all right, let's talk about the co-main event: Dominic Waters versus Don Hyun Kim. I gotta think Kim is a huge favorite. It's at home for him. He's just obviously much faster, a way better all around athlete. But what's the line on it?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of ridiculous, and it got bet up. I opened it pretty steep, but now it's right now it's minus 700 for Kim. The comeback on Waters is plus 500. So
Really?
yeah, just what, stylistically, not a good fight for Waters. Um, he's taking this fight on short notice as well, so that doesn't bode well either for him. And then, like I said, Kim, you know what he's going to do in this fight. He's going to get the fight to the floor. He's going to grind people out like he always does. The problem with Waters is he's faced guys that aren't really as talented as Kim getting the fight to the floor, and he's been beat by him. So I think in this case, Kim shouldn't have much of a problem to get the fight to the floor. So he's going to do what he does best. Waters is a tough guy, though. I mean, meaning that he's hard to finish. So it's not going to be an easy task. And then on the feet, even though it'll be pretty competitive, I think Waters does have a slight edge as far as being a little bit more dangerous. And I don't trust Kim's chin either. It's one of those situations for a 700 favorite. His chin is definitely a little bit worrisome, concerning for sure. So if it stays upright, Waters has a shot to pull up the huge upset. But I don't think it stays upright. Obviously, the bettors out there don't think it stays upright either. Kim could get positional control and the fight on the ground possibly. So there's a lot of scenarios it could go, but it all does favor Kim really. I mean, it's basically a puncher's chance for Waters here.
I completely 100% agree with everything you just said, and I'm leaving this one alone. There's not enough. There's not enough. I don't have enough faith in Waters to bet any kind of money on him. And then the amount that Kim is charging right now for me to get any kind of money back on it is just too steep for me. So I'm going to have to leave this one completely alone. But once again, it's another dog or pass situation. Am I correct?
Yeah, it is. But again, I think you lean a little bit more towards pass here. But of course, I'll be like always pulling for underdog for the sports books because that would be a huge parlay buster. Everybody's going to throw Kim in parlays thinking it's pretty much a sure thing. But in times like that, chances are they do probably come through with a win. So yeah,
All right,
he'll
let's
get
move
one.
on to Masvidal versus Henderson. This fight has got to be competitive. It's got to be close. I can see a little separation. I see it moving towards Henderson's way with the betting. Did you open it pretty even and it got bet up either way, or is the line at now where it was when you opened it?
It moved a little bit. I opened at 210, and right now it's minus 260 for Bendo, I should say, Ben Henderson. And now the comeback on Masvidal is sitting around plus 220. So they are betting Bendo a little bit more. Um, and it's not really that surprising. I mean, the guy is a stud. He's a popular fighter amongst the fans, the bettors. You know what you're getting from him. I mean, the guy's going to push a high pace. He's so well rounded. He's a grinding style. He's got good stand up. He's a complete fighter, and he gets that kind of respect at the betting window, and again from the MMA community in general. And Masvidal, he does a lot of the same things that I just said, but he just doesn't quite. I think have the respect that the fans are giving Bendo because he's a former lightweight champion, of course, and he's pulled off some mega wins in his career, no doubt about it. And the judges seem to love the guy. So anytime there's a close fight, it seems like it kind of leans a little bit more towards him as well. In most cases, I mean, it's been back and forth for sure, but in some decisions are always a head scratcher when it comes to close fights.
For me, I think Masvidal is just like a quarter of a step behind Henderson, but seems to be a little bit more active, which is the reason why he wins a lot more judges' decisions. But if there's going to be a finish in this fight, I think it's going to come from Henderson. I see Benson finishing this fight, but I see Masvidal winning the decision. Like you said, if this goes to decision, I think Masvidal is going to win this one as a decision because he's going to look like he's more active, but he won't have the bigger shots, and it's going to be very confusing because now we're looking at where they got to bring the refs in and they got to bring the judges in. We talked about at the beginning of the show how they have to move the whole production over, but one of the things they have to bring in the Korea is they also have to bring the commission. So you're bringing over the refs and judges. So who are they that they're bringing over, and are they well-rounded enough to pay attention to the entire fight, the entire round, understand what's actually happening, not what kind of can be sold versus not being sold in a fight. But I still think that Masvidal can win a decision if it gets that far.
You're right in some ways. I do think that he can win a decision if it hits the scorecards because I do expect this to be a really close competitive fight. So, I mean, at the price right now, this is another dog or pass situation. At plus 220, I mean, there's honestly some value on it because both guys are really hard to finish. Both guys are tough. Both guys are well rounded. So they neutralize each other out on the ground, really. Their stand up game is good enough and effective enough, and they're tough enough to withstand each other even on the feet. So, probably does hit the scorecards. But I think Ben Henderson is the one that actually puts a little bit more pressure on his opponents. He's going to be the one trying to get the takedowns along the way. He's going to be the one maybe clinching up against the cage. Masvidal is going to want a little bit of space. He's going to want a little bit of room to work, and I think it's going to be competitive either way. So I don't know if there's a finish. Honestly, at this point of their career, I actually favor Masvidal. Now I trust Bendo's chin a little bit more. I mean, because Masvidal, and I'm not saying Masvidal has a bad chin, but he has been clipped. He's been rocked. Even fights that he survived, he's been dropped. And then he's got back up and he's done well. So you got to give him credit for that. And Bendo's been stopped as well. But I just trust that factor a little bit more. But overall, I think that Masvidal might be a little bit more dangerous on the feet. But it is going to be competitive back and forth. And the thing is, I think I've seen a lot of improvements from Masvidal's wrestling, his takedown defense over the years as well. So I don't think Ben Henderson's going to be able to kind of manhandle him or bully him around as much as maybe most bettors do out there. So if it stays upright, I mean, we're going to see a coin flip type of fight. And you just mentioned the judges. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that any of them are really capable from what we've seen of scoring properly ever. And if you're giving them a close fight like this, wow. I mean, who knows? We could see 30-27 from one guy, for Ben Henderson, and then we could see 30-27 from Masvidal from another judge. It's going to be one of those type of fights. So I don't know. I mean, I would definitely be concerned if this fight hits the scorecards.
Well, for me, I'm betting Masvidal. I'm gonna bet him to win via decision. So then I'm going to bet a prop bet. I'm going to go ahead and bet the over on the over-under for the amount of rounds the fight's going to go because I kind of feel this fight, and what you're saying, this fight's going to go the distance. and I'm thinking Masvidal's going to pull out a decision. That's what I think is going to happen if it gets to a decision. But I see a finish happening if it's going to happen for Henderson. That's my set. What are you going to lay your money on for this fight?
I would go probably lean a little bit more towards Masvidal straight out. I mean, plus 220, not a bad thing, especially if it is a coin flip type of thing. Or, like you said, I mean, the decision prop is going to be pretty nice to see as well. So if you throw a flyer on Masvidal by decision, like I said, I am expecting a really close decision. That means even if Henderson wins, 3 out of 5 rounds, and all of us agree that he wins, really does win and deserve to get the nod, I still don't expect the judges to feel that way. So, like I said, we could definitely see it go the other way. So, a flyer on the dog money, either way here. I mean, like I said, I think the better bet is straight just in case, but by decision also might have a little bit of value.
Thanks again for watching us here on Before the Bell. We'll speak to you next week. That's Nick Kalikas. I'm Frank Trigg. Have a good Thanksgiving.